Hey, y'all. How's it going? New streaming software. So I am not certain if and how it works. I think I'm live. Says I'm live. We will see. How's everybody been? I know it has been um, a really difficult week. At least it's been difficult for me for a lot of reasons. I'm not sure what to babble about this morning. Let me check and make sure. Yes, I am. Okay. Just making sure that I am actually live. I suppose there's a few other people live at the moment. Marilyn's live, so I can understand if there aren't very many people here. Somebody's here. Hi, somebody. Welcome to all of y'all coming in on Replay Crew. A little late to welcome you. I should probably be doing that right from the start. One of these days I'll get decent at this YouTube stuff. Um, so let's see what's been going on all week. I am still without a client, and so this week, work-wise, has been really quiet for me. I was enjoying it first because it's been so long. Um, it's been so long since I've had real time off, but what I'm finding is, well, maybe it's just that I needed the time off, and so I'm only now starting to feel antsy, antsy about all the time off, but that's okay. School starts this next week. And classes start the following week. My first my first teaching, the class that I'm teaching two classes. And the first one is next Monday, not this Monday, but next Monday. And the other one is a week from Thursday. So I've got some time to get those lesson plans together and organized. Um, Start working on them. Hopefully, I will get a client soon. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start going live much more often, get better at this, and make it my full time job because I'm certainly not getting paid anything in my other full time job. What else? We're going to have We're gonna have book club tomorrow night, y'all. Regular book club. And we're gonna try and go through. I know it's probably ambitious, but I put down 4 chapters since we would have done 2 chapters last week. Um, so we'll try and get through the 2 from last week and 2 from this week. See if we can get through all 4. Um, Jenna's chapters are pretty short, I find. So hopefully that's not too much for anybody. Wow, you guys, I'm not sure how long to give this and see if anybody wants to arrive. I see somebody's here watching. Or maybe it's just YouTube. Somebody else is here watching. Hi, y'all. It's a pleasure. Don't be a stranger. I've been babbling for 6 minutes to nobody. I'm not used to having such a long time before I go live and when people show up. It's unusual. It's unusual. Let's see. What else? Maybe nobody's here and I need to talk about something for y'all. Somebody's here. Y'all are just quiet. Y'all are just quiet today, which is fine. No, that's not what I wanted. Hmm. I know I'm being so. I should be talking more. Hmm. Awfully quiet. Awfully quiet. But well, we know. So let's. Hmm, the sign my daddy made me when I was a little girl. Oh, it's not even going to show. Well, so much for that. That's pretty hilarious. Daddy's sign isn't going to show. I'll show you guys another time. Paolo, it is so good to see you. It is so good to see you, Paolo. How are you doing? It's been a while. Oh, that's funny. Makes me disappear, huh? That's hilarious. Sorry, I didn't mean to disappear. Wow, y'all. Babbling about nothing. I better figure out something and read it. This is an interesting paper. that we'll see about looking through. My goodness. No. Okay. So this paper, now that we figured out what we're doing, see if people arrive, is called Technological Exorcism: Body Thetans and Scientology's Secret Mythology. And the abstract, sorry guys, you know how it is with cats. The abstract here says, when applying the category of mythology to a contemporary new religious group like the Church of Scientology, one has to choose from among several different categories of narratives which could be regarded as mythological. If we set aside the body of tales surrounding L. Ron Hubbard, Church of Scientology's founder, which could arguably be classified as mythology, one of Scientology's clear key stories is the so-called Xenu narrative, also referred to as the OT3 teachings. Although this story is only revealed after one has tread the bridge for some time, it is arguably a foundational myth which sets the Scientology enterprise into a cosmological framework. While the present article will focus on the Xenu story, it also discusses Hubbard's self-mythologizing, including his discovery of Incident 2 as a hero myth. Got a hangnail, and it hurts. I need to fix it. So this is an excerpt. I Chi. Well, it's actually baking hour Chi, like for getting baked. It's a wake and bake. So it's baking and bacon because we're bacon, because it's wake and bake. That was the idea behind it. Thank you, Chi. I appreciate that. How did your live go? I saw you were live a little earlier. I want to see. This is just a horrid story. I really like it, Chi, but look at this. Look. I really like that. Oh no. Well, at least you've got AAA. At least you've got AAA. That makes a huge difference. So this abstract, see, I'm reading from this paper that I've got since nobody was here to chat much, I just pulled an old paper. Um, isn't that nice? Yeah, I like it a lot. I just pulled a paper that I've got set aside that's about Scientology. And oh, Paolo, you're so sweet. Oh, now I need to check something. Hold on. Oh, good. No, that's not what I want. Sounds better, probably. You guys like that better? I was on the wrong microphone. That should be much better. That should be much better. So, this is one of L. Ron Hubbard's writings about Xenu. I'm not sure exactly where this is from. 1975. Let me see if it says in the footnotes. What's it say in the footnotes? Ah, Revolt in the Stars. This is from Revolt in the Stars. So let me read away. Xenu passed his tongue over dry, cracked lips. You can proceed when ready. Meanwhile, on the face of earth, hundreds of thousands of hungry, homeless people sat bemused on the slopes where they had been left. The dispirited and ravaged Ninth Army soldiers were too dejected to move. Only one of them was attempting to free his hands of their binding. And the little girl was down on her knees, rocking her doll. Bruised and dirty, tears coursed silently down her face. She looked upwards towards the sky, saw nothing there. Hugging her doll closer, she began to whimper, not understanding where she was or why. Right? The chief lightly held the electronic box. Its red lights glowed softly, hypnotically. Oh, yeah, it's bad, Chi. Face expressionless, he moved his right hand toward the box. Finger poised, he hesitated only a moment, then smoothly, gracefully even, he depressed the center button. Simultaneously, the planted charges erupted. Atomic blasts ballooned from the craters of Loa, Vesuvius, Shasta, Washington, Fujiyama, Etna, and many, many others. Big Chief, how are you, my dear? Arching higher and higher, up and outwards, towering clouds mushroomed, shot through with flashes of flame, waste, and fission. It is really good to see you. Yes, I am going back and forth out of the apocalyptic novel that's all awful. You're baked eating bacon for sure? Good. I haven't even started. So, let me take one for the team. Okay, let's back up a little bit. Face expressionless, he moved his right hand toward the box. Finger poised, he hesitated only a moment, then smoothly, gracefully even, he depressed the center button. Simultaneously, the planted charges erupted. Atomic blast ballooned from the craters of Loa, Vesuvius, Shasta, Washington, Fujiyama, Etna, and many, many others. Arching higher and higher, up and outwards, towering clouds mushroomed, shot through with flashes of flame, waste, and fission. Fab Daddy, how you doing? Great winds raced tumultuously across the face of the earth, spreading tales of destruction. Good morning, Susan. Debris-studded and sickly yellow, the atomic clouds followed close on the heels of the winds. Their bow-shaped fronts encroached inexorably upon forest, city, and mankind. They delivered their gifts of death and radiation. Casually, the chief still held the electronic box. His craft rocked a little, as if echoing the passing violence below. Through the windshield, he looked down at Earth, its cloud formations now a reddish, uneven swirl. A windshield. He had a windshield on a spaceship. The windshield on the spaceship. Sorry, guys, that just took me completely out of the narrative. Through the windshield, he looked down at Earth, its cloud formations now a reddish, uneven swirl. Also observing this view, by way of a dozen screens popped up around his office, was Xenu. He tapped his fingers in time with the soft, gentle symphony his office stereo was playing and took a delighted sip of his long, cool drink. It was over. The charred remains of the little girl's doll bobbed on a choppy sea, lamented only by a low, moaning breeze. It is Salmon Festival time, Fab Daddy. Tell me again where you're from. I've lived in the Pacific Northwest for 30 years. 30 years. Lots of salmon festivals. It is that time, isn't it? They are coming back. They're coming back. Susan, how are you doing? Oroville, California. Wow. Where's Oroville? Now I'm curious. Hold on. Nope, it went away. Somebody stole it. Oh, there's also South Oroville, says. Between Redding and Sacramento. Between Redding and Sacramento. I'm doing pretty good, actually. It's been a long week. I'm still struggling with finding some new struggling with new software. I don't It used to be that when you scheduled a live, it would show up as a scheduled live in, like, I can't figure out, it doesn't appear that this live showed up as a scheduled live, and I'm not entirely clear why that didn't happen. I'm just so do you guys want to chat or do you want to read this paper? Because I'm cool with either. There was just nobody here. There was nobody here earlier, which is why I'm complaining that I don't think I got a cat hair on my lipstick again. That's why I was complaining that I don't think that it showed this is a scheduled live for some reason. I don't know. Or we could do fun questions. What do you guys want to talk about? How have your weeks been? Do we need a space to talk about anything? Or is everybody cool? I guess that's a little better. That's a little better. You just came for the bacon? Well, baked bacon is the best way to do it, Fab. Baked bacon is the best way to do it. There might be bacon later, but it'll only be bacon here. I can't share the bacon. We don't have smell-o-vision yet, and I can't share things. Unfortunately, I can't share the bacon. I can suggest the bacon. See? Yeah. I don't know, guys. I think I like this one better. Am I all over the place? I am. I'm not settling in today. I think I like this one better. I was reading. Let me find the reference again. From Revolt in the Stars, which is available online. We can look at it. Hold on. Revolt in the Stars. Let's see. Huh. Well, it is no longer available on the internet, I don't think. Let me look one other way. Ooh, we could read the whole thing, y'all. Check this out. Becky, how are you? What do you guys think? Yeah, that works. Do it this way. We can do it that way. Revolt in the stars. Now I need to move that over there so I can see it. So I guess this is what happens. Susan, you're so great. This is what happens when I come with nothing planned. And I'm a little all over the place. And then I start baking. So you're heading off to work. We are doing good, Becky. How are you doing? I hope you have a great day today. Robert, how are you? Hey, here's a reminder, you guys. Like and subscribe. I'm just going to say this, try to say this multiple times because I always forget. There is going to be a book group tomorrow night, and we will. Okay, that sounds excellent, Fab Daddy. That sounds excellent. You have a great day. Robert, has it been storming for you? Have you been up with the storms? I hope everything's okay at your place. I've been worried about Dusty and Cheryl and everybody else. Yeah, have a lot of fun, Fab Daddy. So that whole passage, it stopped yesterday. That's good. That's good. This whole passage is just like the most depressing shit ever. And I guess maybe we should read it because what I cannot figure out is why, I mean, oh my goodness, Robert. Well, at least it hit the lightning rod. Sounded like a bomb. Wow. That must have been scary. So when it hits your lightning rod, I assume you need to get a whole new lightning rod. It's hard when the power goes out. It's hard when the power goes out. Okay, guys, another thing now. If I'm going to keep talking, I need to get some lip gloss. Give me a minute. My lips are getting all dry. That's much better. There we go. Ooh, Robert. Ouch. That had to hurt because I know you couldn't have made. I mean, you can't make consecutive claims like that. You just have to pay out of pocket for homeowners insurance. Otherwise, your homeowners insurance gets jacked. So I am sure that that was awful. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest and I don't remember lightning being like that. That sounds. Is it just, is it, is that normal? Are you in a funky area, Robert? Is it just there's that much lightning? And it got your insurance jacked up? Yeah. Yeah, I used to sell insurance. So I know from what happens when people have consecutive losses, even when it's no fault of their own. It's uh it's not a fun thing. It's not a fun thing. If they paid out, if I'm misunderstanding and they paid out, then I'm really happy for you. Oh, you're the highest spot in the area. Journey, how are you, sweetie? I hope you're doing well. So you're the high ground. That makes it harder, doesn't it, huh? So what I was saying, we've got book club Sunday night, tomorrow night. Book club is tomorrow night. And then Tuesday night is the members only book club. Um, I can't see, what I don't like in Restream is I can't tell who's a member and who's not a member. That's a problem. Interesting. So I can't see who's a member or not. Becky, you're still here. Are you just getting ready for work? Um, members only book club. For those of you who are members and are interested, will be a Zoom call on Tuesday night. And I would love to see any of you who are interested, I'd love to have you join us for the members only book club. So let's go back to this paper and see what he has to say. He says that it's interesting that L. Ron Hubbard tried to, and not only interesting, but surprising. You get to listen as you work. You're the boss, huh? I'm not sure if that's ever a good deal or a bad deal. Being your own boss is hard, Becky. He says in the 70s, Hubbard tried to sell a screenplay to Hollywood built around the premise of the evil Xenu nuking innocents around Earth's volcanoes. So this it says, given L. Ron's assertion that one could die from exposure to the Xenu narrative, it's interesting that you can find this screenplay available and online. Okay. Let's read. Given L. Ron Hubbard's assertion that one could die from exposure to the Xenu narrative without proper preparation, not to mention the intensity with which the Church of Scientology has guarded its formerly secret inner teachings, it is not a little surprising that in the mid-1970s, Hubbard tried to sell a screenplay to Hollywood built around the premise of the evil Xenu nuking innocents around Earth's volcanoes. This is a central part of the mythology which is at the core of Scientology's secret teachings. Nowadays, one can usually find either a copy of the screenplay or a novelized version from which the above passage is taken on the internet as a PDF file under the title Revolt in the Stars. And I've got it. To anyone familiar with his fiction, it is clear that the language of the screenplay novelette is Hubbard's style. Plus, no one from the church has tried to deny LRH's authorship. Further, there is a letter posted on a number of websites in which Hubbard discusses the never produced film version of Revolt in the Stars. The post is said to have been taken from WikiLeaks. In that missive, he says that the film will recreate the events which affected this sector circa 75 million years ago, though it will present the data in a way which releases charge and brings up awareness and confront. In other words, LRH was saying that he had sanitized the narrative so that while the information would not kill people, at the same time, it would evoke recognition in buried memories from past lifetimes that would make the task of spreading Scientology a bit easier. This letter, plus information about Hubbard's own struggles with body thetans at various stages of his life seemed to indicate that he believed in at least part of the mythological system he had created, referencing Atack and Rathbun. Thus, while Hubbard might have been a cynical manipulator, he was not, as many critics allege, a completely sinister con man. Hey, Indigo, how are you? It's good to see you. So, thus, while Hubbard might have been a cynical manipulator, he was not, as many critics allege, a completely sinister con man. What did I say, Indigo? Afternoon or evening. Good morning. Afternoon or evening. Yeah, whatever time it is. Interesting. Okay, let me read this whole sentence again. Thus, while Hubbard might have been a cynical manipulator, he was not, as many critics allege, a completely sinister con man in the specific sense that he did not invent an entirely fake religion in which he himself did not believe. So that is the full sentence. Let me read it again. Thus, while Hubbard might have been a cynical manipulator, he was not, as many critics allege, a completely, in italics, sinister con man in the specific sense that he did not invent an entirely fake religion in which he himself did not believe. So, I'll split the difference. Fool's Gold Sandwich. Fool's Gold Sandwich? What's a Fool's Gold Sandwich? I don't know. I think by this definition, I see what they're saying. He fell victim. I mean, I'm not suggesting he's not a con man. I don't think that that's what they're suggesting either. They're rejecting. Hold on. They are rejecting. Peanut butter, blueberry preserves, and bacon. Wow. That's a lot. I haven't been, that's a lot. I bet you it's excellent. It's just more than I can consider putting in my mouth. Well, I didn't do the whole sentence the first time, Susan. I only got partway through the sentence. So let's read the full sentence one more time. Thus, while Hubbard might have been a cynical manipulator, he was not, as many critics allege, a completely sinister con man. And then he makes reference to one critic. That's in quotes, and it's got a citation. In the specific sense that he did not invent an entirely fake religion in which he himself did not believe. Yes, I agree, Indigo. Do we agree that he believed? So that Hubbard's belief, so that's the next sentence. Hubbard's belief in his own system should also be evident from the massive number of technical bulletins on auditing procedures he composed across the course of his lifetime. These technical bulletins were published by the church in a series of thick volumes known as red volumes. Arguably way too much work for someone who did not believe in what he was doing. I don't know about that one. Arguably too much work for someone who didn't believe in what he was doing. I mean, the man wrote a whole barrel of science fiction. And that was arguably, I mean, he's written more science fiction than anybody else. He's in the Guinness World Records book for that. So I don't think their argument for why he believed in it is valid. Do I think he believed in it? I think there's too much evidence that he was trying to get rid of body thetans and all kinds of other stuff. So I do not. You think he knew what he was doing, huh? I don't ascribe the same level of evil to Hubbard as I do to Miscavige, which might sound backwards. You think he knew he was making it up? Then why was he spending all kinds of time at the end of his life worrying about body thetans? I mean, did he talk himself into it? He could have done anything. He could have been like David Miscavige. He could have lived that life. But instead he was Sunrise Dawn, it's good to see you. I am sorry you can't stay as well. I can see him being so arrogant as to believe that he actually was coming up with something. That's all I'm saying. I can believe that he was so arrogant and so misguided and so narcissistic that he truly believed his own shit. Whether I think he did. I think he believed his own shit. Yeah, I think he did. You guys, what? I think at the beginning he knew what he was doing. That's a good one, Susan. You think he began to believe his own shit? He started to believe it. And, you know, he was this, he got a following and he had all this power, and so why wouldn't he believe in himself? Thanks, Sunrise Dawn. But I don't. Yeah, Susan, that's a good point. I don't agree with their argument here about why they think he believed. So, the next paragraph. LRH is, hey, Cricket. Hey, Shaquille. It is good to see you. There you go, Becky. That may be That may be the more accurate. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. He lied to himself so much that it became his truth. That I think he began to believe, yes. And but I still think David Miscavige is scarier than L. Ron Hubbard. And I can't tell you why, but I think David Miscavige is much, much worse than L. Ron Hubbard. Um, Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm wrong. Shaquille, we are reading from a journal paper about technological exorcism and body thetans, which is technological exorcism is their definition of um it's a description of what they're trying to do with body thetans. Lily, welcome in. I haven't seen you before. You've been watching protesters in London. He tells people it's a cult in disguise, don't believe their lies. Be careful. He doesn't yell, and they seem to be quite effective. Very cool, Lily. Hi, sweetie. How are you? I saw you there. If it's true that he did hallucinogens, I could see that increasing his delusions. Do you think he also used Scientology to hide his own PDF file tendencies? Um, I I think if he had, I think we would have heard more reports with all of the messengers. I think there would by now be reports. And I don't know that I've ever heard reports. Am I wrong, Indigo? The student surpassed the teacher. Exactly that, Becky. Exactly that. And Lily, I didn't mean to pass over your comment. That's been great. It's a cult in disguise. Don't believe their lies. He doesn't yell. Yeah. Well, you've got a whole cast of protesters who don't yell here today. Brain Fog, well, Brain Fog yells sometime, doesn't she? But she doesn't scream and yell. That's for damn sure. I've never heard that. Indigo, I'm not sure. I guess something I can see a universe in the 70s, especially. In the 70s, especially, Indigo. It was a different time. I can see a universe where having messengers be young women is just not a big deal, which it wasn't, but that he actually didn't have. I mean, I don't know if he did or not, but I can see a universe where that was just normalized. I mean, you gotta the 70s was a freaked out time. All kinds of shit was normal. Hubbard was a con man. Miscavige is the leader of an organized crime group. He knows the tech is bullshit. Yes, Cricket. Yeah, Indigo, that's yeah. I think anytime here's what I think. I think anytime that you have someone with a fakakta idea about sex, whenever you've got somebody who has unhealthy fakakta ideas about sex and gender relations and being sex positive, you got somebody who is wackadoodle about that, who's the leader of a group, you're gonna get replication of those crazy ass ideas about sex. That's just what's gonna happen. And Hubbard was wackadoodle in his head about sex, as evidenced by his relationships with his wives. And Miscavige is clearly wackadoo about sex, but beyond that, sex is a huge control mechanism for high control groups, guys. It's a huge mechanism for high control groups. So, I mean, you've got to think of NXIVM and I mean, even the FLDS. Yeah. Sex, controlling sex, only when you're walking by, tell them about cooties. Exactly, brain fog. Only about the cooties. We should I wonder if Cheryl could crochet cooties. You remember the cootie game? Exactly, Indigo. Indigo says I can see that because they know they started really cracking down on dating, who you could be married to, and much of that crackdown, like getting rid of the family time, all of that shit we're reading in Jenna's book, that all happened after David Miscavige took over. This crazy shit got crazier. It got crazier. The heat got turned up. So I think it was just the 70s and having go-go girls, having little girls be messengers. I mean, fucked up, but 12 and 13-year-old girls were also groupies to rock stars back then. And that wasn't uncommon. The 70s were just a weird time. What's cool, Shaquille? Okay, so Uh-huh. Before his hostile takeover and Hubbard was being pushed out of power and sidelined, right? He was I mean, Hubbard Hubbard was not a political mastermind, that's for damn sure. LRH's religious system is a complex bricolage of diverse ideas and practices drawn from many sources. Hubbard referred to the aspect of Scientology which drew from ideas about spaceships, life on other planets, and aliens as space opera. In a recent article, Susan Rain tracks down the origin of this term in science fiction circles. In contrast to the genre of stories which imaginatively explore the potentialities of science, the sci fi subgenre of the space opera, derived from soap opera, is a looser, freer tradition that allows for complete departures from the rational possibilities of science, allowing space opera authors to create scenarios uninhibited by the norms of scientifically grounded proposals. Yeah, I go back and forth about people being held accountable now for what was normalized previously. It's like you can say it's wrong in hindsight, but you can't pass a law and then arrest somebody for breaking it before it was a law. So I get really conflicted about that, Indigo, and I'm not sure how to square that circle. The cooties would be an adorable crochet, an adorable crotchet. In other words, space operas are about interplanetary travel, beings of outer space often in conflict with the people of Earth, and other similar science fiction themes. Okay. As hostile observers like to point out, Hubbard's early professional success as a popular fiction writer, particularly in the space opera subgenre. Such critics also usually assert that Hubbard simply transferred his success as a popular author to the spiritual one. Yeah, I want a cootie crotchet. Yeah. I think you can't. I think there might be ways to hold accountable, but you cannot retroactively punish people for things that weren't against the law when they did them. You can I mean, not criminally, not legally. I certainly think we can make judgments about them, but I tell you, I lived through the 70s. Shaquille, what are you laughing at? I mean, I don't think Indigo's comment is worth laughing at, Shaquille. I think Indigo's got some really grounded concerns about the issue. I think we can agree that something that things happened. I think we can all agree that what happened in the 70s was probably not the best treatment. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that happened in the 70s that was just stupid and nuts. So I think she's got, or they've got, sorry, Indigo, some valid concerns. So I hope that you weren't laughing at the comments, Shaquille. Cricket. I've heard lots of discussion about sexual assault. I'm not supposed to say those words in the Sea Org, and I wonder about what we would define as sexual harassment. I need to understand more of what you mean with the question, Cricket. Tell me more about that. I think Indigo, I would want to continue the conversation because um exactly, Becky. Thank you, Shaquille. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah, it was a thing when I was growing up. The way to raise children evolves. You know, I also my children are my oldest and my youngest are 15 years apart. So I've got children in two different generations. And I will tell you that the parents of different generations of children parent, that style of parenting shifts. And it is, I think, easy not to see it if you only have kids in one generation. But I had kids in two very different generations, and the stuff that I was doing with my two younger children that was completely um completely normal to do with my older children that was looked at askance with my younger children. But I knew it had been fine because I had done the older children. But of course, the parents who I was friends with who had kids the same age as my younger children, they generally didn't have older children. And so they didn't realize it was a different. Yes, brain fog. Weird is an understatement. Mhm. So, Cricket, you mean like comments on the job? I expect I don't know if I've heard anything about sexual harassment in the Sea Org. I mean, I know it has to have happened. I know it has to have happened. On the other, I mean, well, there's what um Mike Brown's mom had to endure with Ronnie Miscavige. There's that kind of sexual harassment. Um, I think My guess is that there was less harassment because, here's my guess, because people just went to assault. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I've heard anything about that at all. I'd be curious. I'd be curious. Indigo, where'd you go? I hope you're still here. Sexual harassment legally is unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or physical assault, which creates an imbalanced power dynamic. This can include illicit photos too. Right. So what Mike Brown's mom, y'all. Mike Brown's mom. Shaquille, we love you too. Rosemary. Rosemary. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure you hadn't gone anywhere. Shaquille, where are you watching from? Okay, next paragraph. As hostile observers like to point out, Hubbard's early professional success was as a popular fiction writer, particularly in the space opera subgenre. Such critics also usually assert that Hubbard simply transferred his success as a popular author to the spiritual realm where he authored a religion. Hence, Scientology is an invented religion that is no more real than one of LRH's sci-fi novels. Yes, Becky. India. Nice, Shaquille. Yeah, it's a really Mike Brown he's a great guy. I really like him. And his mom is just a sweetie, and it has got to be such a blessing that he got her out. It's just amazing, and it's amazing, amazing story. Efforts to reduce Scientology to just science fiction, however, typically ignore the pre-existing connection between science fiction and occult spirituality in American culture. Interesting, y'all. A connection explored at length in Jeffrey Kripal's Mutants and Mystics. Scientology's place in this sci-fi occult subculture is discussed in some depth in Harriet Whitehead's insightful essay on these interconnections. Interesting. William Sims Bainbridge, yet another academician deeply familiar with Scientology, even regards Scientology's roots in the popular science fiction subculture to be one of its strengths. Interesting, interesting. So again, efforts to reduce Scientology to just science fiction ignore the pre-existing connection between science fiction and occult spirituality in American culture. A connection explored at length in Jeffrey Kripal's Mutants and Mystics. Okay, let's look this up. Jeffrey Kripal, Mutants and Mystics. Yes, that's true too, brain fog. Although I think he was definitely into girls. He might have also been into boys, but he was a charmer, if I recall correctly. Sorry, guys. Ooh. Here's a fun book for book club, y'all. What do you think of that? This one. In many ways, 20th century America was the land of superheroes and science fiction. From Superman and Batman to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, these pop culture juggernauts, with their powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, thrilled readers and audiences and simultaneously embodied a host of our dreams and fears about modern life and the onrushing future. But that's just scratching the surface, says Jeffrey Kripal. In Mutants and Mystics, Kripal offers a brilliantly insightful account of how comic book heroes have helped their creators and fans alike and explore and express a wealth of paranormal experiences ignored by mainstream science. Delving deeply into the work of major figures in the field, from Jack Kirby's cosmic superhero sagas and Philip K. Dick's futuristic head trips, to Alan Moore's sex magic and Whitley Strieber's communion with visitors, Kripal shows how creators turn to science fiction to convey the reality of the inexplicable and the paranormal they experienced in their lives. Expanded consciousness found its language in the metaphors of sci fi: incredible powers, unprecedented mutations, time loops, and vast intergalactic intelligences, and the deeper influences of mythology and religion that these in turn drew from. The wildly creative work that followed caught the imagination of millions. Moving deftly from Cold War science and Frederick Wertham's anti-comics crusade to Gnostic revelation and alien abduction, Kripal stands out a hidden history of American culture, rich with mythical themes and shot through with an awareness that there are other realities far beyond our everyday understanding. Interesting. What do you guys think? Do you guys find that interesting at all? I find it really interesting. Wow. I may need to get that one. I may need to get that one. Okay, guys, where are we? Where's my timer? We have run past, we are at the second Minnesota. Goodbye, y'all. How did that happen? So I think I am going to order that book. That looks really interesting. Um, yes, Becky, I can. Give me a second. Repeat which part of what I just said? The whole paragraph? You're the best, brain fog.
Ooh. I have a purse fork.
Okay, guys, I hope you will forgive me. My youngest made pancakes, and so I must eat them. Indigo, Becky, let me. What they're trying to say is that sex magic, the occult experiences and the paranormal and all of those things, Alan Moore's sex magic, Jack Kirby's superhero stuff, all of these paranormal experiences that were ignored by mainstream science were the pieces that were ignored by mainstream science became science fiction. The book title, I'm going to eat them here, guys. I'm going to eat them here. Yeah, it is nice. Let me show you the book title again. Whoops. I might have been reading too quickly. I'll be right back, guys. Here I am. So let's go back to where this reference is in the paper to this book. So we got distracted. Second Minnesota goodbye, y'all. The thing we were talking about that got us distracted onto this Mutants and Mystics book is efforts to reduce Scientology to just science fiction, however, typically ignore the pre-existing connection between science fiction and occult spirituality in American culture. A connection explored at length in Jeffrey Kripal's Mutants and Mystics. So you can't reduce Scientology just to science fiction because of the pre-existing connection between science fiction and occult spirituality.
And so this book explores the connection between Scientology, between science fiction and occult spirituality. And Scientology at its core is just science fiction. Scientology is science fiction. I mean, its core mythology is science fiction. Excuse me. Hush. So next, the original piece announcing Hubbard's Dianetics appeared in Astounding Science Fiction magazine, indicating that the link between Scientology and science fiction was there from the beginning. Yes, Cricket. Crowley in the past and the future with sci-fi. The title Dianetics, the modern science of mental health reeks of modernism. Yes, Cricket. Yeah, the original piece announcing Hubbard's Dianetics, we were all getting there, appeared in Astounding Science Fiction magazine, indicating that the link between Scientology and science fiction was there from the beginning. Yes, Becky, exactly it is. Yes, it is. Science fiction is the paranormal that science can't explain. Hubbard just decided that it did explain. What Hubbard did was said, all this fiction is fact. That's all he did. During its developmental phase, Dianetics auditing was tested out on science fiction fans recruited by Hubbard's early collaborator, John Campbell, who was also his publisher. Guys, during its developmental phase, Dianetics auditing was tested out on science fiction fans recruited by Hubbard's early collaborator, who was also his publisher. Furthermore, science fiction fans were not only the first converts to Dianetics, but Scientology appears to continue to be recruiting science fiction fans. One of the keys for understanding Scientology, one of the keys for understanding the church's inner teachings is that Hubbard considered the genre of science fiction to reveal some kind of collective recollection of what had happened to humankind, rather the Thetans, a very long time ago in another part of the universe. Furthermore, Hubbard declared that all science fiction writers actually write about factual events. The basis of LRH's claim was the idea that sci-fi authors were unconsciously tapping into memories from their whole track, from their soul's memories of past lifetimes. Given this perspective, Hubbard would not have judged himself guilty of plagiarism when he took the name of a Marvel Comics character, Zemnu the Titan, as the name for his OT3 villain. Although he did take the precaution of reducing the central consonants in the name to Xenu, or sometimes Zemu. The point here is that while critics take the obvious influences of LRH sci-fi on his religion as evidence that Scientology was just fiction, Hubbard's notion of the link between science fiction and factual history meant that he could explicitly acknowledged the parallels between Scientology and sci-fi, asserting that both were true. So I think that was your question, Becky. You are tracking exactly along with the paper. That was the question. In addition to Revolt in the Stars, a number of different academic observers have noted that LRH included numerous space opera references in his writings. Thus, for example, in Have You Lived Before This Life, originally published well before OT levels were announced in 1966, 17 out of the 52 auditing experiences recounted described past lifetimes on other planets. In an even earlier book, Scientology: A History of Man, originally published in 1952 under the title What to Audit, UFOlogical themes are dealt with and all the substantial claims from the Xenu story are detectable. Hubbard announced the third operating Thetan level in late 1967, and followers soon began auditing at OT3. For anyone who had dutifully studied the extant body of Scientology literature available up to that point, the Xenu narrative would have felt familiar rather than completely alien, although the idea of parasitic body thetans would still have come as something as a shock even to sophisticated Scientologists. Within the Church of Scientology, there are a number of higher levels of knowledge that followers can access after they have reached the state of clear. Sorry, Orion. Itself the product of years of psychological processing using Dianetics auditing, the Church's basic therapeutic technique, as well as its central ritual practice. As in traditional psychotherapy, during auditing, a trained auditor works with a client referred to as a pre-clear. During the early days of the Dianetics movement, Hubbard started using the e-meter, a device invented by Volney Matheson based on a lie detector technology that was used to help auditors uncover based on a lie detector technology that was used to help auditors uncover a client's psychological and spiritual issues, especially engrams, residues of traumas experienced while in a state of full or partial unconsciousness. These residues are held in the PC's reactive mind, whereas reaching clear meant that one was free of one's psychological problems from this lifetime as well as from prior lifetimes. Scientology auditing is directed at getting rid of certain obstacles at a spiritual level that are holding one back from becoming a totally free, unrestricted spiritual being. Hubbard, who seemed to take genuine pleasure in inventing new terms, referred to what other religions called the soul as the Thetan and to the goal of spiritual freedom as operating Thetan. Hence, the 8 upper levels of Scientology processing are referred to as the OT levels and are numbered 1 through 8. While the content of all these levels is confidential, it is only at the OT3 levels that the initiate receives the central revelation about Xenu. At the beginning of their OT3 training, Scientologists are given a folder obtaining a copy of a brief version of the story written in Hubbard's own handwriting. With a little patience plus a basic familiarity with anti-Scientology websites, one can usually find a facsimile copy of this narrative online. A typed version of the information can be found in the 13th chapter of Marjorie Wakefield's The Road to Xenu. But here we'll use Jeff Hawkins' account from Counterfeit Dreams. So these are Jeff Hawkins' words. I sat with trembling hands and began to read the materials scrawled out in Hubbard's trademark handwriting. He described the incident in detail, all about how an evil galactic overlord named Xenu had tried to solve overpopulation by taking all the rebellious Thetans. Hi, Mischief. How are you? Taking all the rebellious Thetans, encasing them in ice, and shipping them to Earth in spaceships that looked exactly like modern-day DC-8s. They were then dumped into volcanoes. The volcanoes were exploded with H-bombs, and the Thetans then went through days of brainwashing with pictures of angels, devils, and everything else imaginable. I don't get the plot of this story. Mischief, you were a little early. You almost missed you almost won third Minnesota goodbye. You're probably already gone. A reminder, guys, tomorrow night we will be doing Scientology Book Club. We'll be doing chapters of Jenna's book. Susan, can you look and see if you see? I've scheduled a live stream for tomorrow, but I'm not seeing it show up. If you go look, are you seeing a scheduled live stream scheduled for tomorrow? Because if it's not coming up, if it's not showing up, I need to figure out why it's not showing up. And make a new one. Because we will be having book club tomorrow. And then Tuesday night, we will have members only book club. If you are a member, please check in the community page. There is a members only post with information about the book, about the Zoom call. We'll be having a book club over Zoom for the members only book club. Shaquille, thank you. Thank you for coming. You don't see one. Damn. Why is it not showing up? Hold on a second, you guys. Hold on. I am very frustrated. I set that puppy up. And I should have checked. Okay, can you see it now, y'all? Cece. Hi, sweetie. How are you? When are you coming to Portland, Cece? It's soon, isn't it? Isn't it soon? Cece, we're having, don't forget, we're having Scientology Book Club tomorrow night. We'll be reading chapters from Jenna Miscavige's book. We're going to be doing chapters, let's see here. We're going to be doing chapters 26 through 29 tomorrow night. I don't know why it's not showing up. Hopefully it's showing up now. Chapters 26 through 29. Yay, Cece. No, I'm glad you've been busy. But when are you coming to Portland? We're going to be doing chapters. Yeah, I added it through StreamYard, Susan, which is if I can't. If Restream. So I set up. Okay. Okay, Cece. Well, just please let me know. I would love to take you to lunch or out for a drink or a cup of coffee. Any one of those things would be lovely to do. It would mean a lot to me. I would love to meet you. So we're going to do chapters 26 through 29. Try this. I'm not sure. Okay, that worked too. So weird. I'm not used to this. So now I have to fix that. Hold on a second. One second. Dead air, you guys. Dead air. There it is. Now it's scheduled. And that one I need to cancel. Okay. Now, where are we, y'all? Here we are. Bye-bye, Shaquille. Sorry, guys. I'm a little all over the place. Had to get what, brain fog? So back to the paper here. Third Minnesota goodbye, y'all. Third Minnesota goodbye. Let's see who we get. Oh, you had to get the Tuesday book on Kindle? Yeah, I had to get the Tuesday book on Kindle too. I had to get the Tuesday book on Kindle too. Oh, Cece, you are way too kind. I actually think, Cece, I think you truly, if we're being honest, I just forgot to say third Minnesota goodbye, and you won third Minnesota goodbye. Love you too, sweetie. You have a great day. Even in this short overview that we had just read, this is from this is after Jeff Hawkins' account. Even in this short overview that Jeff Hawkins gave, it isn't easy enough to see the differences between Revolt in the Stars and the OT3 narrative. Oh, is it? In the OT3, in the OT3 version, this is interesting. In the OT3 version, the victims of the bomb blasts were transported to volcanoes while frozen in ice, whereas the RTS victims were not. More significantly, their post-mortem souls were implanted with false information that in effect hypnotized them into limiting their metaphysical powers. An aspect of the incident not mentioned in RTS. To pick up the narrative from the account, the Thetans, or souls of the captives, were then brainwashed or implanted to rid them of their original identities. Millions of years later, when life began millions of years later, when life began again on Tegeac, the traumatized Thetans attached themselves to human bodies. This was the crux of OT3. That one's problems were not caused merely by the reactive mind, but by aberrant body Thetans, each one reliving the trauma of Xenu's ancient genocide. To truly clear oneself, a Scientologist had to audit each one of these body Thetans through specific processes. Hubbard had designed To truly clear oneself, a Scientologist had to audit each one of these body Thetans through specific processes Hubbard had designed, unclustering them, clearing their engrams, and ultimately freeing them of their implants. This, Hubbard believed, would be each individual's salvation and ultimately would be the salvation of mankind. in a relatively early volume on his Scientology experience, which, like Reitman's book, is also entitled Inside Scientology. Robert Kaufman's OT3 materials sorry about the disappearing. Robert Kaufman's OT3 materials describe body thetans as leech souls that have affixed themselves to your body. While they are not outright malicious, you are much better off without them. He eventually managed to find out where my body thetans were located while watching the e-meter. I was to mentally scan myself until I got a read, and at that part of my body was a leech soul. Other descriptions of how to go about locating attached body thetans describe it as a process of initially focusing on sensations, pressure, or masses in one's body as potential sites where links with body thetans might be located. Hubbard wrote, body thetans are just thetans. When you get rid of one, he goes off and probably squares around, picks up a body, or admires daisies. He is, in fact, a sort of cleared being. He cannot fail to eventually, if not at once, regain many abilities. Many have been asleep for the last 75 million years. While the idea of body thetans might seem completely counterintuitive, the notion comes into focus when we entertain the idea that body thetans might possibly be the sources of our different subpersonalities, unchecked emotions, and vagrant desires. To cite from an online excerpt from Brent Cordian's book on Scientology, the entities are like being various things, like a body part or a particular personality or condition, such as TV watcher or fear or worker or solitary angry man, and so on. According to this line of thought, people get confused as to why they are and who they are and who they are not. A person hears these voices or feels desires and so on and thinks he is the source of them. Yet, as the theory goes, you are not necessarily the originator of these thoughts or impulses. Hey, Red, you win, Red. Another maybe. So, by identifying who is the being, who is the source of these vocalizations or impulses, and spotting where it is located, you are freed to think for yourself. You realize that body thetans are different from you, that their mental pictures, ideas, and degraded impulses do not originate from you. CC, you can totally show up and just hang out. Thank you, Bo Beats. Isn't it great? I'm so glad you're coming, Cece, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday for Members Only Book Club. Oh, Cece. Yes. Are you getting the crown or the trophy, Red? Yes, it does take me 2 hours from shower to shoes too, brain fog. It is about that time. I will see you in a couple hours. Are you going to be there on time? Cece, this is an interesting paper that I found. It's called Technological Exorcism, Body Thetans and Scientology's Secret Mythology. Crowns. Okay. And it's basically talking, about Scientology's secret mythology and how it's technological exorcism. Both? You want both? You want your cake and eat it too, Red? I don't know about that. So that's what we're reading from right now. It gave us a really interesting lead on a book to read for members only book club next. It's this book. And I'm really interested in reading this one because it tracks the paper talks about how this book tracks the connections, the cultural meaning and connections between the occult and science fiction, and how those influence culture, and how you can't just, what do they say? Let me find the reference. They said you can't reduce Scientology to just science fiction. And because that you can't just say it's science fiction, because that misses the role that Scientology and paired with science fiction are doing in the paranormal. I think it's really interesting. Yeah, isn't it? I think we'll do that next for members only book club. That'll be the next one. It'll be a nice fun change from the it'll be a nice change from the serious topic we're going to have with the next book. Yeah. Okay, so last excerpt here, because we are past the fourth Minnesota goodbye. Hold on a second. The existence of no, we haven't decided that, Susan. Okay. Okay, brain fog. That's fine. I know, try it. You guys, we really need to give it up to brain fog. If you're not subscribed to her, you need to be. I expect all of you are, but brain fog is at that San Francisco org every day, without fail. And she just really needs to get so much more kudos, because she has been doing it I don't know that I have seen many other protesters who are out there every single day. There might be a few. Yeah, I think it'll be a really nice change, Cece. I think it'll be a really nice change. We can't. Fog is awesome. All work and no play is not any fun, and I think this looks like an excellent, excellent book. My biggest concern hmm, wow. Well, look at this. This is interesting, y'all. Hold on. We can see inside the book. Look at that. Can you guys see that? Those are the chapters. So the first chapter is orientation. The second chapter is alienation. Interesting. Ha! So there are references to Scientology in this book. Okay. Thank you, Bo Beats. Thank you, Bo Beats. This is an interesting paragraph here. Consider the following. Science writer Jim Schnabel. I'm glad you're getting more done, Cece. Congratulations. That's really hard to do. I've been doing more to-do lists too, and it's been sort of kind of helping a little bit. I'm getting a little bit more done. Not much, but a little bit more done. Okay, this is interesting. Oh, it's going to be a fun book to read, y'all. I'm looking forward to this. Okay. How you doing, Bo? Have you been around? I know I've seen you around. I mean, I know your name. Oh, I need to stop the screen sharing. I think you've been in here a few times before. We are just getting ready to close up shop. We blew by a 4th Minnesota goodbye, and we don't normally do that around here. I have been terribly distracted all over the place host today. I hope everybody has had a lovely time. We have gone. That's what happens during baking hour. Somebody, CC, isn't it the best when you get gifted memberships? It is just lovely. Sorta, kinda. Sorta, kinda. All over the place. I really appreciate all y'all stopping by. Bo Beats, it is nice to have you stop in and spend some time in the corner joint. Generally, I have to admit, the corner joint, let me try something out here because I am just curious here. Let me check something out. Orion Hush. Orion. There we go, guys. How is that for a background? We like that one, don't we? Oh, thank you, Bo Beats. That is very nice of you to say. So, this is a more apropos to the general feeling we try to have here in the corner joint. And the TARDIS is there because the corner joint here is kind of like having a TARDIS. It's when you walk into the corner joint, it's just this little teeny tiny corner joint, but then it's the size of a TARDIS inside. That's one of the pictures of that I the that's one of the that's one of the pictures that I had created. Let me see if I can find them. No. One of the pictures I had created by AI. I had AI create that photo. And there were several others that I'll have to go find. But this one is nice, don't you guys think? That's a good background. We can hold on to this one for a little while. Okay, y'all. You know, I get here and I always hate to go, which is why we get into the Minnesota goodbyes. But it has been 2 hours. It is probably time to go. I'm glad I relaxed you guys. You like the phone booth? You like the TARDIS there in the background? It's because it looks on the outside like a TARDIS. Looks on the outside like a corner joint, but on the inside, it is definitely like a TARDIS. Dang it. I want to find those other pictures now. It's bugging me, bugging me, bugging me. How do I do that? There it is. Okay. I will see you guys later. Thank you for dealing with my not cricket, crickets in my head, with my squirrel brain. Thank you for hanging out. I will see all of y'all, I hope, tomorrow night at Scientology Book Club for reading Jenna Miscavige's book, chapters 26 through 29. And until then, y'all, I'll see you in chat. Take care.